Hey YouTube, welcome to Rampage Reviews. I'm Rampage and we're ready for Darth Bane. Let's dive in. So today we're talking about Darth Bane, Path of Destruction. It's by Drew Karpyshyn. This takes place about 1,000 years BBY, pretty close to the time frame that the last book I reviewed took place, which was Knight Errant by John Jackson Miller. Good book. Those two books don't have anything to do with each other. I just want to say this is a freaking awesome book. I love this book. I remember reading the trilogy back in the day. It was an awesome trilogy. I really enjoyed it. I can't say it enough. Drew Karpyshyn just paints a picture that's so vivid. It's like I'm living it. I can hear the background music in my head while I'm reading this book. It's seriously just like that. So let's dive in really quick. We're going to start with the overview. The book starts out on a planet called Apatros, which is a planet that has this company called Oro. And Oro is a mining company that mines a mineral called cortosis. They have people working for them that they basically kind of enslave. They pay them really, really low wages, and a lot of times they give them opportunities when they're not working to gamble and also borrow from them so that they owe them more money. So these people are in like this perpetual state of debt and can almost never get off the planet. So Des, for his entire life, has been trying to find a way off of this planet. And he gets his chance while he's playing sabacc in a bar with some Republic agents. So while he's playing, he ends up doing really good, and he beats these Republic agents and gets a sabacc, which is, it's a crazy circumstance that he gets it. The Republic agents are mad, obviously, and after they lose, Bane stays there for a little bit longer. By the way, when the story starts out, Bane's real name is Des, or Dessel, but I'm just going to call him Bane throughout the whole book because it's easier that way. Bane is still playing sabacc after he beats the Republic agents. He ends up leaving the bar late at night. His shift starts like, I don't know, in a couple hours, something like that. So he's leaving, and the Republic agents actually ambush him out in the street. Bane obviously has to protect himself. He ends up fighting him. It's super dark, so he can't see anything, but because it's super dark, he's like using the Force to be able to see where they are. So he already has like a strong affinity for the Force. He's fighting him, and he ends up killing one of them, and the authorities on planet Apatros are not going to see it Bane's way that he was using self-defense, so he has to go into hiding. Well, his only friend at this point is the bartender at that bar. So the bartender takes him in and basically says, hey, I can get you out of here, but there's only one way you're going to be able to do it, and that's to join the Sith Empire. While Bane is talking to the Republic agents when they're playing cards, they get into like political discussions, and he's basically telling them like, I have no love for the Republic. They haven't come here to try to save anybody, so why should I even like the Republic? So he doesn't really have a like for the Republic at this point anyway. So he's like, why not? Yeah, sure, I'll join the Sith. I know they're fighting the Republic at the moment, and you know, maybe I'll find some kind of a life there. So he ends up stowing away on a ship and joins the Sith Empire, and he quickly joins the Sith military. He joins a group called the Gloomwalkers. I guess they're a collection of really good military agents for the Sith. While he's fighting for the Gloomwalkers, people realize he's super skilled in a lot of different things. In one point in the book, he picks up a sniper rifle that he's never shot before, and he picks off like 11 people in a row, like quickly, because he still has that strong affinity for the Force. He can't see that's what it is at the moment, but later he learns like, oh yeah, that's why I was able to do all those things, because I'm strong in the Force. He quickly gets the attention of the Sith Academy on Korriban, which is the ancient ancestral home of the Sith. He goes to Korriban, he gets sent there, and he talks to Lord Kopesh, who's it's like a Sith recruiter for the Academy. I can't remember if the place on Korriban is called the Brotherhood of Darkness, or if it's the entire group of Sith, if they're all the Brotherhood of Darkness. I believe it's the entire group, because the leader of it, Lord Khan, refers to all of them as the Brotherhood of Darkness, and this includes Sith Academies all over the galaxy that they have. He joins the Sith Academy on Korriban, does really well, he learns really quickly. Since he already has the strong affinity for the Force, he's learning things much quicker than some of the other students learned it, because they've all been doing it for years. He just got there, but he's strong in the Force, so he's quickly progressing through his studies, doing well in lightsaber combat and Force studies, all that kind of stuff. Kind of like a Hogwarts for Sith Lords, if you can imagine. He does so well that he ends up challenging one of the students at the Academy, and I forget that student's name. It's not even really that significant, because the student gets his kicked anyway. So he beats the crap out of this one student, and he ends up killing him. And then after he kills him, he gets pulled aside by Lord Cortus, who you find out is the master of this Sith Academy. He pulls Bane aside and he's like, hey, you did really well, but don't kill anybody anymore. We don't want to kill people at the Academy. This particular Academy is home to the strongest of the Sith prospects in the galaxy. So last thing I want to do is start killing off students at my academy because they all have potential to be really strong Sith Lords. So please don't do it again. So Bane's like, all right, whatever. After he kills him, he starts feeling bad about it, and he actually kind of like loses his connection to the Force. So he's like, well, but what do I do to get this back? So Lord Cortosis actually also instructs the rest of the Sith Lords to not instruct him anymore, like personally, after a certain amount of time. And actually, that happens after a different event takes place where Bane is so low that he feels like he needs to challenge the greatest student at the academy. His name is Sirak. So he challenges him. Bane gets his kicked by Sirak, but Sirak doesn't kill him. After Cortosis learns that he got his kicked by Sirak, he tells all the rest of the masters, don't instruct Bane personally anymore. He doesn't deserve it. He's not strong anymore. So Bane heals up. He's defeated. He's miserable at this point, and he's trying to figure out, what do I do? Well, another student named Githany comes to him. She was trained by the Jedi, but she defects to the Sith later, and she's a part of the academy now. She comes to him, and she realizes, hey, he couldn't beat Sirak, but I want to be able to beat Sirak, and I want to see if he knows anything about how I can be the best student at the academy. So she goes to him like, hey, I need your help. She's described in the book as like super beautiful, like students at the academy are lusting after her like crazy. So she's basically using her looks throughout the entire book to get whatever she wants. So she's approaching Bane and like trying to get answers from him on how she can beat Sirak. But Bane's like, okay, well, if you teach me the things that the masters are teaching you, because they won't teach me anymore, then I will try to help you beat Sirak. Tables kind of turn later. Like Bane just tells her, well, I used what you taught me, and now I want to beat Sirak. But anyway, he also ends up convincing Qasim, who's the swordsman, like the master swordsman of the academy there, convinces him to teach him in secret so that way he can try to get better. And he tells Qasim like, hey, if you teach me in secret and I get really good and then I beat Sirak, you can take credit for it. But if I don't, then you can say to Cortosis, oh yeah, you were right, to not train him anymore. He's bad. So really, you win. You don't lose out on anything. So Qasim agrees to teach Bane in lightsaber combat. So he's taking secret lessons from Qasim, he's taking secret lessons from Githany. He ends up getting super strong, but he's trying to hide it from everybody so that way he doesn't let everybody know how strong he's getting. He eventually gets strong enough to where he wants to challenge Sirak again. So he's in a courtyard with all the Sith students out there in plain sight for them to see what's about to happen. And he challenges Sirak and says, Sirak, I challenge you! Sirak comes out of nowhere and he's like, okay, fine, let's do this again. I'm gonna kick your ass again. Well, Bane is like probably 3 times as strong as he was when he fought Sirak the last time. Not to mention, but Sirak uses a double-bladed sword. By the way, they don't use lightsabers, they use training swords, which have like poison on them. And then when they hit your arm or they hit your leg, they basically numb out the appendage that they hit, so you can't use your arm or leg if you get hit there. So they're fighting. Like I said, Sirak uses a double-bladed saber. Qasim also uses one, and he was trying to teach Bane how to fight a double-bladed saber and realized that, hey, it's not any different than other sabers. It just looks different, and that's why you think it's harder, because it looks different. You're anticipating different things. He fights him, ends up winning easily, but he hesitates and he doesn't kill him this time. When he doesn't kill him, first of all, Qasim stops the fight. He's like, hey, Bane's a great example of what perseverance will get at this academy. Learn from Bane if you can, blah, blah, whatever. So, Bane gets back in the good graces of everybody. But Githany comes to Bane, and she's like, why didn't you kill him? And he's like, I don't know, because Qasim stopped the fight. And she goes, no, he didn't. You hesitated. And he's like, maybe I did. I don't know. So now Bane's got some soul searching to do, because he's like, well, why didn't I kill him? Bane and Githany kind of get into an argument, and Githany's kind of like telling him, all you do is read books down in the archives all day and you don't learn anything. And Bane's like, shut the hell up. I learned more from those archives than I ever learned from you or any of the other masters. I'm freaking strong. He then realizes he has to go on a search for knowledge of the Sith to try to see if he can recapture the old Sith magic and lead them into a new era of greatness. First, he tries to go to the Valley of the Dark Lords that exists on Korriban, but Cortosis tells him not to because it's already been ransacked by the Jedi and it's been looted. There's nothing there, he tells him. So Bane goes anyway. He senses that it's got some strong Force presence, but he doesn't find anything. So he comes up short, comes back, talks to everybody and tells them, yeah, I didn't find anything, but that doesn't mean I still don't believe that I'm right and you guys are headed down the wrong path. After these events, there's a war going on a planet called Ruusan. The leader of the Sith, Lord Khan, is there with the rest of the Sith, and he's losing this battle. The leader of the Jedi, his name is Lord Hoth. He's also accompanied by Lord Farfalla, which you learn is like a vain, self-obsessed Jedi, and Hoth is typically annoyed with him most of the time. The Sith are losing this fight, or at least they're losing enough to where Khan is starting to get a little panicky. So he reaches out to all the academies and he wants to bring everybody onto Ruusan to try to help fight. Well, the other Sith Masters is like, wait a minute, don't bring everybody. Why don't you just bring the people in Korriban? Because those are the strongest apprentices. They're all capable of being strong Sith Lords. Why don't you just bring them? He's like, all right, fine, I'll bring them. That should turn the tide. We'll make them all lords. We'll give them all the Dark Lord title. You'll learn later why they don't use the Darth title, but Bane talks about that later. So they get the Dark Lord title and they're instructed to go to Ruusan to fight. Everybody gets the message on Korriban, but Bane doesn't want to go because he's like, I don't agree with what you guys are doing because the way you're trying to fight this war is just ridiculous. It's not like the ways of the Sith. I don't want to join. Cortosis is trying to force him to go and Bane's like, no, you're not strong enough to stop me. I'm going to leave. Cortosis then tries to call him Lord Bane, and Bane corrects him and says, the name's Darth Bane. And then he turns around and he goes, I found out why you guys don't like to use the term Darth, and it's because when you use it, you are then pointed out to the rest of the galaxy or to the Jedi of who the strongest ones are. I know the truth now. It's not because you want to create a new tradition, it's because you're cowards. Because you don't want to face what's ahead of you, I guess in the Sith way. Everybody's looking at him dumbstruck like, what's this guy gonna do, you know? He takes off, he steals Cortosis' ship, and he goes to another planet called Lihan, which was like a dark side, strong planet that was home to this race called the Rakata. Darth Revan was also there. By the way, quick side note, I didn't know his name was pronounced Revan until really recently someone corrected me. I was saying Revan for a long time. Sorry if you ever heard me say Revan. I know it's Revan. Anyway, so Darth Revan was on Lihan thousands of years ago. Bane goes there. He mind invades a Rancor so that way he can ride him to this temple, which is bad and so cool. So he goes there. He starts looking through the temple the same way he looked through the the Valley of the Dark Lords. He almost comes up short and doesn't find much. He does notice that the Force presence is way stronger than it was on Korriban. Then he finds a secret and he finds a Sith holocron. He realizes he has to tap into it using the Force, which he does, and out pops like a crude holographic of Darth Revan. So Revan starts to talk about the old ways of the Sith, how they used to work, and basically teaches them all kinds of secrets in a very general way. It's not like he's talking directly to Bane, but he's talking directly to the person that came upon this holocron. Bane sits there for days, listens to him, and he takes it all in and he realizes, wow, I know what I have to do now. The people on Korriban are horrible. They're stupid. There needs to be a rule. The rule of two. One Sith Master to hold the power and one Sith Apprentice to create it. He now knows that that's his sole goal in life. I need to rid the world of the Sith, create the rule of two, live in the shadows, and only use treachery and deception to try to gain power, to try to take down the Jedi Temple, and then create the new Sith Empire, which will rule the galaxy. So this is kind of a precursor to what Darth Sidious eventually achieves. It all started with Lord Bane. He's easily my favorite Sith Lord. Freaking awesome dude. Long story short, he goes to Ruusan, pretends that he's trying to join the Brotherhood of Darkness again, ends up deceiving people in the process. He comes up with a plan to where he sends a letter to Lord Cortosis about a ancient ritual called the Thought Bomb that Sith would use, and I believe it was brought up in Rebels. I don't remember the episode, but someone had told me it was brought up in Rebels. Bane wants him to try to use it because he knows that if everybody tries to use it, that they're going to die in the process. So that's an easy way to take him out. He's able to make them so desperate that they travel to a cave, all get together and collectively use their minds to create the Thought Bomb, and ends up killing them and quite a few people surrounding him. Bane's job is done at this point. The Sith are killed. He wanted the Sith to die so that way he could make them reborn, start fresh. Story pretty much ends there. There is an epilogue where he ends up finding his next apprentice. It's this little girl that had two Jedi approach her, and out of fear she snaps both their necks with the Force, which is crazy. So then he witnesses it and he's like, oh, she's super strong. So he approaches her and says, do you know anything about the ways of the Force? And she's like, no. He's like, all right, I'm going to teach you. That's a lead into the next book, so can't wait for that one. Oh my God. Was it a good book? Yeah, it was freaking, I can't put the book down. Like I said before, when I was reading it, totally serious, I could hear background music in my head. It's like I could see like the movie. When I was reading it, like I am in the story when I read this book. It's hard to put down, probably 100 pages at a time. When I had time, I was reading 100 pages at a time. I wanted to do this video last night because that's when I finished the book, but I was super tired, made it tonight. I was just so excited when I finished it that I wanted to make the video. Still super excited about it. It was a great book. Drew Karpyshyn, just master of his craft. Freaking amazing. Let's talk about the strength of each of the characters. Obviously, Darth Bane is, when he reaches his potential, is virtually unstoppable. There's a few Sith Lords in history that challenge him. Naga Sadao, that's one of them, and that's one of the people that he learns about in the Sith archives that he tries to take from when he's gonna start this new era. Revan is one that could probably challenge him, although reading what Bane accomplishes and Revan's accomplishments, he'd go toe to toe. It'd be hard to pick a winner in that situation. Darth Nihilus, you know, that's the guy who devours worlds to stay alive. Like, if you're talking about legends, Sith Lords, he's definitely at the top. Like, Nihilus, it's hard to imagine anybody beating somebody who devours worlds to stay alive. Bane is freaking strong. Awesome to hear all of the emotions he goes through in the book and all the things he learns about when he's reading the archives and how he comes up with how he's going to proceed. And then when he decides what he's going to do, he's locked in. I know what I have to do and no one's going to get my way. And he has no second thoughts about anything. I mean, he gets like tinges of regret when he kills a couple people. He ends up having to kill Qasim at one point because he confronts him on Lihan, and he's like, I felt bad about it for like a millisecond, and then no, don't feel bad anymore. His resolve is just steadfast. The other Sith Lords in the book, Lord Cortosis, you don't really know how strong he is because he never fights, and he's mostly just deciding on who gets special treatment and who doesn't. You don't really get a sense of how strong he is. Qasim is pretty strong. He's fluid in all of the lightsaber forms. He puts up a fight against Bane. Bane is so strong with the Force at this point at the end of the book that Qasim's really no match for him. Bane ends up taking him out pretty easily, but Qasim is still pretty strong in his own right. I kind of compared him to a Darth Maul, mainly because of his strength level and also because he uses his double-bladed saber. Then you also have Githany, who's kind of strong, but she mainly just uses her looks to try to get what she wants throughout the book, and she's looking for status. She follows Lord Khan when he's looking really strong and when he's looking confident. Then she follows Bane when he's looking strong and confident. So she's just following the strongest and most confident person in the moment. You have Sirak, who's the lead student at the academy, really just a stepping stone for Bane. He's better than most of the other students, but once Bane reaches his potential, it's all over. He's just, Bane is too good at that point. Can it be canon? Oh my gosh, I hope so. And I'll tell you what, because of the fact that Knight Errant and this story are so close in the timeline, now I realize it's almost impossible for Knight Errant to be canon. The characters that they talk about in that book, and then the fact that Bane basically wipes out all the Sith in his book, at least all of the known Sith. There might be others in other far reaches of the galaxy, but you never hear about them. It almost seems like Knight Errant would be way less likely to be canon because of the fact that Darth Bane, the character, is canon already. Darth Bane, the character, is canon, and it is canon that he had invented the rule of two. Those two things are canon, but the rest of his villain origin story, which is freaking amazing, is not canon. But I'll tell you what, if they made this canon, oh my god, that would make for an amazing trilogy. Favreau and Filoni, can you please get on it? This is what the people want. They want this. Freaking awesome as hell. So yeah, and as far as a book rating goes, I'm not going to give one right now. I want to wait till the trilogy's over to give a rating on the entire trilogy because, you know, it's all written by Drew. The whole trilogy has the same flow and the same feeling. It's going to be a high one. I'll just put it out there, but I'm going to wait till the end to give it a rating on it. But amazing book. I hope you guys get a chance to read it. There will be a link in the description to purchase this book if you so choose. And any link that you click to purchase any items from me will likely be an affiliate link, especially Amazon affiliates. If you purchase through that link, it will help me in the channel. So please, I hope you're able to support me in that way. And I hope you enjoy the book if you purchase it. So appreciate you guys stopping by to watch the video. I hope you catch me on the next one. And may the Force be with you. Thanks and have a great day.